Michigan goes on a heater in Vegas, and they come away with the Player Era Festival Championship after 3 straight days of blowout victories. And good evening, everybody. Welcome in. Maybe we'll take you right up into Thanksgiving and Michigan carving up Mark Few and Gonzaga. That was unexpected, but what a show Michigan put on out in Sin City. I mean, it was a dominating performance. They win by 40 on Monday night over San Diego State. They come back last night and put up 30, scoring 102 points against Auburn and dismantling the Tigers. And then today it was another bill, 101 to 61, the final. And they couldn't look any better. They couldn't. It was domination. It was a boat race. I mean, whatever. You just keep throwing the superlatives at Michigan, and they're kind of like, keep them coming. And, you know, you can't be too complimentary of how they played from front to back. All the players. Yax looks like a superstar. The front court, the size, the bench, 3-point shooting, passing, unselfishness. I mean, it was all on display. I mean, sometimes you hear, you don't want to peak too early. I mean, it's November, and they had some close games. And they were turning it over, but they go out to Vegas and, woo, man, they hit the jackpot out there, and they'll get paid. They'll get their money, and it is well deserved by the way they played out there against Gonzaga. Let's go through it. If you're out there, you're watching this one live, take your feedback and what you thought about the game tonight, what you thought about Michigan in Vegas. What do you think about them overall? I mean, it's not, they say it's not too soon. You kind of wish the tournament was next week, but then you want to enjoy the whole season. And, Michigan, they can come at you in so many ways, and they're deep. I mean, this thing looks as, it was advertised in the preseason that, this could be a team that could be there in the end. And after this, I mean, it's not just Michigan fans talking about it. They are the talk of college basketball. In this game here, number 7 versus number 12, Gonzaga was supposed to be the test. Gonzaga was the betting favorite in this game, $1 million on the line, and Michigan cashes that check pretty quick. In basketball, I said the same thing now for 3 nights in a row. You feel each other out, whatever you want to say in the first half. You're usually, you don't win the game in the first half. Michigan has been winning it in the first 10 minutes. The way they've come out, they just put the hammer down right away. And it looked like it did the last 2 nights. Grant Hill, I kept, I kind of like that comment from Grant. Grant Hill just kept, he was just so complimentary of Michigan, everything that he was saying, oh man, they really look in sync for a team that has brought together all of these different players. This is what Grant Hill was saying. He said it looks like they've been playing together for 2 years, and it hasn't been 2 weeks, but it is just the start of the season. And there were a lot of folks, as Michigan was getting ready to play in this tournament, that say, it's not November. The idea is to come together for March, and with all of the new faces, it's going to take some time. Well, guess what? That process was really sped up. And if you can go back, the Pistons lost tonight, but when they won their last championship, 2003, with Larry Brown as the head coach. Larry Brown was famous for saying the Pistons play the right way. And Grant Hill said that about the Pistons, said that about Michigan tonight, that they play the right way. And they did. They played the right way. and the impressive way. I'm taking notes in this game. Yaks comes out in the first 10 seconds of the game. He drains the three. Michigan never looked back. They were up 13-3, 16-5, 20-5, 27-10. It felt like it was over. It felt like it was over when it was 13-3. And then, if it didn't feel like it was over when it was 50-29, Michigan is up 53-29 at the break. Those are some of the scores. But then in the second half, Michigan was a little sloppy in the first minute or two of the second half. Some foul calls that turned it over 4 times. They'd only turned it over 4 times in the first half, and then they turned it over 4 times in the first couple of minutes of the second half. But they get out to 72-37 lead, 83-43, 96-52 before they could have scored 150 if they wanted to in this game. 101-61 ends up being the final in this one. Michigan, they are sitting there at halftime. They shot 61% from the floor, including 57% from downtown. Only 4 turnovers, and this was the bugaboo last year, and it spilled into this year. It was happening in the exhibition games. It was happening in the first couple games, but you hear coaches say, well, we're cleaning that up. Dusty saying, doing everything they can. Man, they really have tightened that up and have taken care of the ball. And it's let's say, is it amazing to watch? It's very entertaining to watch. It is a sight to see. This team going out there and playing basketball the way they are. Yaks had 15 at the break. He could have scored 50 if he wanted to tonight. And Yaks ends up being, once again, the Maize and Blue Review's player of the game. Yaxel Lendenborg. Give it up to him. Let's go for Yaks, who has 20 points, 11 boards, 3 assists. He had 4 steals and 2 blocks. Now, he was advertised as a 5-tool player, and he is a 5-tool player. I have been impressed with his versatility. He can get a rebound, and he can run the break, and he's pretty fast. When you see big guys like Danny Wolf brought it up last year, the big man, he's 7 feet tall and everything. It was impressive. Yaks will get the rebound, and he's pushing up he's pushing it up the floor, the ball, and he's got his head up. And man, he is transferring to one side to the other with quickness, with intensity, deliberate. The way he's getting up the floor, very impressive. The way he was doing that. And then he also threw down some highlight reel jams. Nothing but super couple days for Yaxel as he just took over Nevada and Las Vegas. Put a banner up. Give him the $1 million. Wow. A great performance from Yaxel Lendenborg. I don't know. Say you can't say enough about him, but I'm saying as much as I can. Ken Pom, I look at the numbers for Ken Pom. There's all kinds of different things that you can look at from, the rankings and everything else. Michigan is sitting there at number 7. They'll go up. Should they be the number 1 team? I mean, Purdue hasn't lost. They were the number 1 team. Michigan's going into the top 4. And at one point, if you say, will they be the number 1 team in the country? Yeah, I think so. Of course, you want them to be number 1 at the end, but they've gone from Ken Pom. They had dropped, I think they started at 10, and then there was 12 or 14, but they have really shot up the Ken Pom rankings, where they entered today's rankings as the number 4 Ken Pom team with the number 1 defensive rating in the country, according to Ken Pomeroy. And then they were the 18th offensive rating. The number 1 ranked team, according to Ken Pom, entering today was none other than Gonzaga, who Michigan blasted by 40 points. I wasn't familiar with a Ken Pom thrill score, but when Michigan and Gonzaga got together today, it's noteworthy that from Ken Palm's calculations, it was a 90.3 thrill score on the Ken Palm ranking scale, whatever it is, the thrill scale. But that was the highest ever score for two teams in a non-conference game coming together. So that's where it was noteworthy today when you see how these two teams and man, the buildup, they're talking about it. They've got the TNT desk there, and they're just going on and on about this matchup about, wow, man, this is going to be for early season supremacy and the team to beat in college basketball. I mean, just on and on and on about that. And I'm thinking, man, they are really building this up, and who knows, but as impressive as any team in the country, anybody, and what they've been able to do, and Michigan is just ringing the bell, and they just want to keep this thing going. It's like I want to see them play again tomorrow. Then if they take 10 days off now, they'll chill. They'll watch, eat some turkey, and get that $1 million. Who knows? Put that in their back pocket, and then they'll start Big Ten season. We'll get to that schedule coming up in a moment. I'll go through the box score. I mean, there was superlatives all over the place. Might as well go through that. I don't know if every game is going to be like this, but it was in Vegas. And hopefully, what happened there doesn't stay there. Hopefully it transfers out to Ann Arbor and then across for the Big Ten. But each and every player, you look at it, you say, oh, you like that, you like this. Oh, they can do this, they can do that, they can do this. They're coming at you in all these different ways, the way they can beat you. That's the thing. If I'm looking for a takeaway, you're going to hear a lot of people say a lot of great things about how they look because they look great. And, they deserve all of that. If you're going to rip them or be honest about, if they play really poorly and say, oh, man, they tear the ball over, it's nasty. This will cost them. That will cost them. Well, when they come out and they flex their muscle, well, pat them on the back. And so they're a great defensive team. They've got the length on that front line with Mara, who's 7'3", but has almost a 7'7" wingspan. And Morris Johnson Jr., he is listed at 6'9", but he has a 7'2" wingspan, and Yax has a 7'4" wingspan. And these guys are going after shots anytime in the paint. It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch the opponents when they get into the lane because that they know that there's like guys standing there with tennis rackets in their hand getting ready to swat their shots. But I've been impressed, and I saw it from Morris Johnson when he was over in Switzerland. He can block shots with his left hand, with his right hand. But what you see from Michigan, and what I've noticed from watching them this year, if there's a three-point attempt, not that they're just running out there trying to run somebody off the line, not that they're putting their hand up there, to try to alter the shot. They put both hands up and they fly at the three-point shooter. I've been impressed, and all of them do that. But when you got freaking Mara with a 7'7" wingspan coming at you, that's going to stay with you a little bit when you're shooting those threes. So the number one rating defensively and defensive efficiency that you see when you look at these numbers for Michigan, you get it, and it starts on that gigantic pterodactyl front line that Michigan has. It's very impressive. So that's with the defense, I think we all agree they're shot blockers, and then they can really get after it. Morris Johnson Jr. Is a man. He plays like a combination of Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren from the Pistons. He's not those guys, but as you know, if you watch the Pistons, Isaiah Stewart will challenge anyone who's coming in to try to dunk. He's saying, no, that is not happening. He is going to challenge it, and he is going to try to block it. Isaiah Stewart, That's what Johnson Jr. does, and you love it. Back in the 70s, Michigan, they call it the team defense was, if you got into the paint, you'd end up with a bloody nose, the bloody nose lane or something. I'd have to go back and actually check how they phrased that, but they were tough inside. You didn't want to drive because you'd end up with a bloody nose if you drove the basket. Johnson brings that physicality and shot blocking and toughness. And then Mara at 7'7", he's the Spaniard is smooth, and he bats the ball to himself. He's got a hook shot. He's got a spin. He can block anybody, and he's just a pleasure to watch. And what he's able to do, and he's a gifted passer. Sometimes a little bit too much flair, but when you can pass and you've got some moves. We watch. I don't like watching Wembanyama too much. It's a little weird, but maybe I need to give him a second chance because I'm liking watching Mara and how he uses his size and his skill and his passing and everything else. And he's fun to watch. And then Lindenborg, he just does it all. He can be the point guard. He's guarding point guards. He's starting out on the wing. I'll tell you this: if Lindenborg shoots anywhere close to the way he's shooting in Vegas and playing like he is, Michigan will be cutting down the nets. Michigan will go to the Final Four. Lindenborg is impressive that way, inside out. He starts out, and if you give him that 3-point shot, he's going to take it, and he's knocking him down. But he's not just obviously the 5-tool player. The Zags had no answer for him, and they've got size. The Zags were offended when Lindenborg said that Michigan had the best front line in the country. Well, they couldn't guard him. It didn't matter who they put on him. They put a little guy on him. He's going down on the post, and Michigan's just throwing the ball over the top, and he's going in and dunking. They try to put a big man on him. They can't check him out at the 3-point line because he's got too much of a shake, and he's got a good jumper from out there. He's a problem. He's a problem for other teams, and he's the straw for Michigan that's stirring the drink. And they come at you with these 3 bigs that nobody can. I was excited to see what Gonzaga was going to do because everything I've seen from Michigan, it's like, wow, look at this versatility. Look at the different ways. Look at the length that they have. This is just talking about on their front line. But man, they can do it all inside out. And I'm coming off the bench. They got firepower. McKinney's shot is a thing of beauty. And you see Cadeau is, you think, well, the point guard is going to be the most important player. I like how it's developed where, he's the point guard, but, Yak can bring it up. And LJ Kaysen is going to be really important because what if Cadeau has to miss some time or gets into foul trouble? But Kaysen is elevated his game, and he looks good. McKinney in the pinch can handle the ball. So they've got those ball handlers and secondary ball handlers. They're unselfish. They can pass the ball. And then, Roddy Gale Jr., who had the 26-point masterpiece against Texas A&M in the tournament last year, he was in the starting lineup in these exhibition games. And I thought, he'd be an awesome sixth man. He is an awesome sixth man. He comes in and he's ready to attack. You give him the ball, you better watch out because he's flying to the hole and he's looking to dunk. And that's what you're looking for when you go to the bench. Can you get somebody that wants the ball and can score? And Gale does that. And McKinney's coming in. He's not bashful. You give him an inch, he's firing the ball. And, he's looking to drain and he's looking to take shots left and right when he's coming in. So you love the second unit with McKinney and Gale and Kaysen and what they're able to do. So that makes it 8 deep. And then, after that, Sure, when you're talking about your ninth and 10th guy, you got Cheddar. You can't leave him open. He'll have 4 or 5 games this year where he'll be in double figures and he'll hit some 3 or 4 or 5 threes in a game. And it's a great mix, firepower off the bench, and you just got to love it if you're a Michigan fan. Whew. I mean, it was quite the performance. The champions of the Player Era Festival. I saw the bling basketball right at the end, right before I turned on the camera here to get going. That thing will be pretty sweet on the flight. Spinning that diamond encrusted basketball on your finger. Let's do it. There's Rip coming up, throwing some numbers up. 60% from the floor, 48 from downtown. Charlie likes what he sees from Michigan. Speaking of Charlie, Charlie May dropping in a free throw there at the end of the game. Tomorrow might be time. There's the Borg. It's the Lendenborg. Let's fill this bad boy up. Let's get it going for tomorrow. Woo! It's party time. It is party time. If you're a Michigan fan, it is party. It might be. I thought maybe I would be saving this Borg. I've never filled a Borg up. I've never tried it, but the way they played right now, it almost feels like it should be filled up. And it should be happening when it comes down to it. Chi-Town is complimentary of Michigan, saying that they look like the best team in the nation. SW Lion has a concern. He says complacency. 3 great performances back to back to back. Well, are they going to win every game by 30 and 40 points? Are they going to win every game? Are we starting to talk like this is the 76, watch out, Bob Knight 76 team? That's a little premature. So, there's going to be a loss somewhere down the line, foul trouble or something like that. Dusty, I thought it was interesting. I'm trying to think who said it. I was all geared up watching it. It looked like it was a Super Bowl. I mean, it's Thursday. I got nothing. I'm watching the Pistons and watching the Red Wings. Got the Michigan game coming up, and they're going over the coaching matchup. Mark Few's a hell of a coach. These guys, he's a great coach. And maybe it was Mashburn. He's like, Dusty's not taking a back seat to Few. I see the coaching advantage as even. I'm like, wow, that's a hell of a compliment for Dusty. So, Dusty's the kind of guy that doesn't seem like he's going to let this team get complacent. Yaxel gets the MVP, deservedly so. Rip's got a little coach in him. He sees the team win by 42 times, the 30 the other time, and he's saying, improve the free throw shooting. Unacceptable. BTA, I don't know what that means. Big TNA? I don't think so. Basketball, time, turnovers, assists. I don't know. I don't know why I was going to big TNA, but I think my first inclination may have been the right one. Old Bluebeard. There he is. I want some shades like Bluebeard, man. Those things are cool. He says Michigan looked incredible. Formerly MGO Blue 1234. Now he's Z21GD. A little long for me to say in there, but he's throwing some acronyms out, and he thinks that Michigan should be ranked number 1 again in due time. Wind. I like the blowing smoke, like we should be number one emoji. I've actually never used that one myself. Fire, and then it's not actually a Michigan, the side lightning or whatever that is. I like it. Unbelievable tournament run. Well, when I first saw that, I'm like, okay, let's not get too far. But if you would have said Michigan's going to go out to Vegas and they're going to, blow everyone off the floor, and anyone that, this was a great field. Bunch of teams in the top 25, all of them except one. When you looked, pretty good teams. And Michigan just takes them and smashes everyone to smithereens. Let's go, Derek. Derek Deslover. It's a sweet name. Here's Matthew. He's been along for the Vegas ride. Heck of a win. Amazing. If this team can stay healthy, no one can beat them. Go Blue. Here's another call for the Borg. Here it is. Need to find a top and then figure out what to put in there. Got some stuff downstairs. Oh, smash the numbers. Yeah, he's a West Coast guy. Probably not a surprise. And I can say I just blew right into Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's go. Don, already talking about competing with Duke. Duke is Duke. Grant Hill was marking down when Michigan was playing Duke. Michigan's got a nice schedule coming up. They're off for 10 days. We're going to look at the upcoming schedule, the next 3 games. That Duke games it in December. Let's see. There's Villanova. So we got to wait till 2026. The heck is that Duke games in February? Penn State, Duke. They're not playing Duke until February. Let's go. Wow, look at this. In February, you got Michigan State, Purdue. How about Michigan at Purdue, February 17th? Well, that'll be one you want to tune in for. And then 4 days later, Michigan and Duke, duel in the district. What district is that? The Capital One Arena. Where's the Capital One Arena? In D.C. D.C. Smash the numbers, talking a little Michigan football. I'll allow it. If we do lose to OSU, I will be all basketball all the time. That being stated, beat Ohio. The crowd's all 3 days. I don't know if the arena, they had a different arena tonight than they did at the Michelob Ultra arena that they played, but I should have the deviled eggs. You're right. You're right. I've got it all down there. I just have not mixed it up. Thanks for calling me out on that. Friday, Rip. I hope, you weren't here on Monday. I could have lied and said I had them, but I didn't. SW is saying this is like the college version of the Pistons. Fill the Borg with blue cheese. Blue cheese I love, but and you just at times I think I could just drink blue cheese, and I have been known to, I was gonna say take my I'll just say take a piece of celery in there, feel like I'm just drinking some blue cheese, but it is Thanksgiving, you do go over, let's go with some blue cheese. Ferris is in Michigan. He's talking about it being very cold. It's very cold. I agree. The wind's blowing. And I'm looking at my phone and talking about, blizzard. A blizzard? What? Snow's coming down. Let's go. I wish today's weather was Saturday's weather. It's Michigan's chances, whatever you think they are against Ohio State, they go way up if the weather's like Michigan is a tougher team. Ohio State, you can start putting the check marks when Ohio State does this, they do that. But Michigan is the tougher team. If they were fighting, I would take Michigan. And if it comes down to the trenches, a lot of times this game does, in the running game, and the cold, Ohio State is more of a finesse team. Finesse teams, they don't like the cold. Woo! Got a question mark, 70%. I keep seeing everybody about. I'm saying 100% chance of snow at 12:10 in Ann Arbor. 100% chance of Thanksgiving cane sugar Cokes. Let's go. Don't worry about my bedtime. I'm good. You like to know what's in this? It's a little last of a little coffee. The last 3 nights, I've had a cup. I went and bought some. It was called. This is called. Very good coffee something, but it lives up to the billing. Ground it up, put it in there. Let's get some more of the feedback in here. BK says the team is looking great and their positivity is good to see. They are once again built for deep tourney runs. Yes, sir. They now deserve their rank. Let's see. Detroit Fan Man. It's a nice handle. They can't just keep winning every game by 30 or 40 because they aren't developing any competitive skills. Maybe they got to stop playing these cupcake top-ranked teams. Yeah, well, there's the sarcasm when it comes down to it. They take Oakland and take them take the belt, to Oakland for the opener, but then they go to overtime with Wake. And then they play a tough one with TCU. It's like, if you're playing these teams so close, you're in trouble. You need some blowout wins. All right. You got them now. SW is talking about what an assist night from Cadeau. Was it now? Was it an assist night from Cadeau? Let's take a look at the numbers. I'm intrigued. Yaks with 20 and 11. We've went through his numbers. He was our player of the game. Burnett had 14. Burnett played nice. 4 of 4 from downtown. That's nice. I like Burnett. He went in and threw one down, and he hung on the rim, so he had to shoot free throws. He's a good free throw shooter. He made both of them, but I just like Burnett as he can shoot anytime he gets the ball. I'd rather just have him shoot than put the ball on the floor. Just fire it up. Barra, Mr. Fun, the Spaniard, 13 points, 4 boards. They got him down for 2 blocks. If it would have said 12 blocks there, I'd have said, yeah, it seemed like 12 blocks. MJJ, Mojo, Morez, rough and tumble, 11-5. He had 3 blocks. Here he is, Elliott. Ooh. Oh. Nice line for Mr. Cadeau. 5 points, 2 boards, 13 feeds for Cadeau. He made a move, was it last night or the night before, that I haven't seen since it was, speaking of the Pistons, the original Isaiah Thomas, where you're flying down for a right-hand layup and the defense is coming in and you switch hands and you take it over to the left and you go under the rim and you throw it up there. I was like, that's Isaiah Thomas. Cadeau had that move out in Vegas, and I liked it. McKinney's, are we calling him, is he a star already? Instant offense. I love his jumper, love his game. 17 points, 3 boards, 2 assists, steal. Oh, Roddy Gale Jr. He is, if Roddy Gale didn't have that 26-point masterpiece last year in the tourney, I would have said, I'd hope he just went to the transfer portal and went somewhere else. Sorry. But the way he's played, but then, he had the 26-point masterpiece. And then what he brings to the table, 17 minutes, it's just perfect. Perfect play from Gale. Yeah, he'll have a turnover here and there, but I like him. Cheddar. Give me 10 cheddars. Hit 2 threes. Winters Grady had 3. Kaysen, 15 minutes. He's solid. Kaysen can take anybody in the country off the dribble and get a layup on him. That's his top skill. He'll break you down, he'll fly by you, and he can get to the goal. That's a nice thing to have. And he's just, developing more and more, and, he fits in. He's going to get way better. And there's Mr. May in the box score. Big Red had a jam yesterday that brought the team to its feet, and then also had him rolling around on the ground. Cordell was in there. Just an awesome night. Dusty said the football team is going to take care of business on Saturday. I didn't hear him say that, but there you go. Michigan is a basketball school. Well, the last 2 nights, been watching the TNT coverage. You got Chris Webber and Jalen Rose, and they were, I don't know if it was, I think it was Mashburn the night that brought it up. And he said, hey, Michigan, yesterday, Bruce Pearl said that Michigan, I don't know who asked the question. It wasn't Jalen or Chris. It might have been, he asked if Michigan was a blue blood basketball school. And Bruce Pearl said yes. I'm like, wow, Bruce Pearl talking about Michigan being a blue blood basketball school. And then Mashburn, I believe tonight, was asking if Michigan was just a basketball school. And I think Jalen was saying it right. This week they're a football school. And you can be a football and basketball school. Not a lot of teams, and but you can do it. And if there's a team that can do it, it could be Michigan. There's I would say a surprising thing to me as I sit here on Thanksgiving 2025 is that if you go back to last Thanksgiving, no, it would be like a couple Thanksgivings ago. And if we were sitting here and we were talking Michigan basketball, nobody would be watching. Nobody would care. And if you were saying something, you would say, Michigan is not a basketball school. Nobody cares about basketball. And you would say, Michigan can't get any players. Michigan loses out on one and dones. They don't want to come to Michigan. They're just looking to get paid. They're going elsewhere. Michigan can't be taken seriously because they're not going to pay for any players to come in. In addition, Michigan was not able to go to. This is what we would say a couple of Thanksgivings ago. Michigan can't get anybody out of the transfer portal. They can't get their credits to transfer. So guys aren't going to come in because they don't want to take a hit that way. They don't want to go to summer school. School? Why not play ball and get paid at school? So it was like, and there was some truth to those. Juwan had Caleb Love and Terrence Shannon. Hey, they're coming in. No, they're not. Those guys aren't coming in. They're not. They can't get the transfers. They can't get the grades. And forget about getting anybody overseas. That's not happening because they got to take some kind of test or whatever. And then the transfer. But Michigan, obviously they got the best player in the transfer portal. The whole starting five's out of the transfer portal. They're paying guys, and so they're serious about NIL. You got to be. It'd be pretty serious. And they're getting foreign players. Cordell's from Germany. They got a cat from another 7-footer from Denmark. I don't know how they're getting those guys. Rip is talking about cane sugar Cokes, and I thought he was talking about a Bloody Mary, bloody nose. What a combo. They really did teabag the Zags and Tigers. Charlie gets a point. Gonzaga and Auburn almost never play like that, but also Michigan having fun and playing smoothly helps the team chemistry. Gonzaga heading in was looked to be a very serious, foe. This was not like playing Oakland. And Auburn, no, they didn't have Broom from last year. But, Tahad Pettiford's a hell of a player. And Michigan just ran circles around those guys. Killed them. Mar says Michigan is a basketball, football, and hockey school. And I think you need to say Michigan is a football, men's and women's basketball and hockey school. Where is the Final Four this year? In Indy, I think. Where's the NCAA men's Final Four this year? Give me the answer. Lucas Oil Stadium. 5-hour drive for me. I'll do it. I will do it. Was a new ranking released yesterday or today? I think it happens over the weekend. I'm not 100% sure about that. I thought Michigan was 7, and I think that they'll have a new one come out over the weekend. But again, it could be completely missing that. U of M is long like a week with no weekend. Roddy is the MIP, most improved player. Is that what we're going with there? So far, ready to party like it's 1989. BK says bench scoring was awful last year. It's improved a lot. I would agree with that. Roddy is a perfect 6-man. Like I said, he's coming in and he can score. You need a bucket, throw it to Roddy. You want shooting? How about McKinney? You want a guy who can take someone off the dribble, go to the rack? Give me Kaysen. There's 8. Cheddar? Anything? They're deep. and they're playing well. Everyone is on notice. There you go. Just put everyone on notice. BK asking about May's kid. Will he be an assistant for his dad? Hope he becomes as good as his pops. I don't know what is in Charlie May's future. Having a hell of a time this year. Let's just wait. I'm not going to go, but we'll watch with my father-in-law in the state of Michigan. I don't know what he's talking about there. The Lions game? Outstanding basketball team. These last two have been stunning. Not that they won, but the way they won, I agree with that. I totally agree. Stands for, beat that behind. Oh, BTA. When the center shoots free throws, that percentage will go down. Oh, belt to bottom. I got it. Throw some numbers in there. We beat 3 top 40 teams by a total of 110 points. Crazy work in 3 days. Yes, happy Thanksgiving. I'm 55 years old, and it used to be one of my traditions was, so you'd end up driving down to the game, to the Lions game, and you would, the stations would always play that Alice's Restaurant song. And I didn't even know what it was about. Just like, I'm going to get 6, 7 glossies down on the trash thing or whatever. And it's not a very catchy tune or anything. And I don't even know why. I don't even know the history behind it. Ended up, was it a protest song or something? But it was every Thanksgiving. There it was. If you listen to a classic rock station, and they'll be doing it tomorrow. I don't listen to the radio too much anymore, but it would be there. That was the tradition. Then I went to a lot of Lions games on Thanksgiving. My brother for 10 years. I don't know why I'm just talking Thanksgiving. He had him and his 4 friends, like his 3 friends, 4 of them all together had Lions season tickets. And you can almost count on every year somebody was giving up their tickets for Thanksgiving. And I was always there like, I'll take him. I'll go. Silverdome, Thanksgiving. Ford Field, Thanksgiving. Lions get Frank Ragnow back. That was a great surprise today. How about that? Everything I said on this channel is all facts. Yes, I think that should be your nickname, young old head. All facts. Just keep it going. Formerly MGO Blue 1234 wants to beat Rutgers by 60. If I could pick to beat somebody by 60, it'd be Michigan State. Michigan O's. Beat them by 60 and kiss the floors. Do something. Come up with that'd be a nice tradition to start against Michigan State. Beat them by 60. MB says if it comes down to the run game Saturday, Michigan wins hands down. That's right. Cadeau has been hitting some deep threes. Yeah, early in the game. Leave him open. He'll throw it up there. Cadeau's been nice. Cadeau can really hit a high degree level of shot making, twisted his body, throwing the ball up there. I talked about the Isaiah move that he made. If you would have said that Roddy Gale is the truth and, we'll play poise, I'd say, let's not get ahead of ourselves here. But he has been. It's amazing. Been pretty awesome to watch. I don't know if this is true, but it sounds good. First team in college basketball history to be back-to-back top 25 teams by 30 plus. I know that who was the guy? Brian Anderson calling the game. He was like, yeah, Michigan beat San Diego State by 40, but then San Diego State the next day came back and he said they look like San Diego State. So that's good. Who's that? Penny? I know my spot. Go Blue beat Ohio. Always room for that bit of feedback. Penny, I don't know if that's Penny or not. Maybe. Axel says, I don't think we've ever had the Tigers, Lions, Red Wings, Pistons, U of M football, basketball, and hockey all playing good at the same time. Well, you know, if you talk about the Lions and you put them in there, they've only. How many times have the Lions even been good? Not that often. So, right. And so for the Lions have been good for 2 years, and they were good, you know, in the 90s. So you'd have to look at the 90s. The Red Wings had that 25-year run. The Tigers are good right now. The Lions are good right now. Red Wings, all right. Pistons, surprising. Knew they were good, but not this good. Yeah, I'll buy it. It's a great time to be a sports fan. Tom hasn't heard Alice's Restaurant in 35 years. 10 days off. Do they get better? How do they get better? Well, that's a challenge now. Now, you know, everybody's you're going in to play Michigan. It's like, whoa, Michigan's gonna kill us. We better let it all hang out. They're gonna be a top 4 team. They're headed for number 1. And so there's a challenge every single day about that. The more games they keep going and they have that 0 in the loss column, you say, hey, you know, how long can they do this? How long can they do it? Let's see when if I was to ask you when I thought their first loss would be, so they're done here in November. They got Rutgers, Villanova, Maryland on the road. So just for December, you know, they've got Maryland and then, you know, they host Villanova. Those would be the 2, but I don't know. Maryland's already got 2 losses. I think they're going to go undefeated for the rest of the year. So that'll put them at 8-0 against Rutgers, 9-0 if they beat Villanova, 10-0 if they beat Maryland. Then they've got LaSalle, 11-0, McNeese, 12-0. And then there will be people that say, well, could this team do what Indiana did? And I said, that's the tap of the brakes. That's a way out there. I would say no. But you know, if they're killing everybody by 40 points and they get into 2026, you say, hey, why not? Well, why not? Because, you know, it's been, you know, 50 years since the team has done that. Yeah. Michigan State. At Michigan State. I thought that was going to be January 30th for the first time. I don't know. Wisconsin. I'm not going through the whole schedule. Thank you. Tofu turkey. That's not happening. No, it's not. Let's get to a couple other things that we have. And that is, yeah, that's right. You can Sparty twice and Duke. We've got the upcoming schedule, and that is brought to you by the channel that you are watching and listening to right now, the Maize and Blue Review. Give yourself or that U of M fan in your life the gift of the Maize and Blue Review. Go to on3.com, hit that subscribe button. You know, all that going on with Michigan sports, you get a front row seat. and you can be a participant with all these other Michigan fans. I enjoy the live game threads going back and forth with all the Michigan fans. That's a fun time. Here is that schedule. And Michigan with 10 days off, and then they will play 2 games in the Big Ten out of their next 3 games. They've got Rutgers coming in. No Harper, no Bailey. Those guys are in the pros. That is Saturday, December the 6th. College football playoffs. Maybe Michigan football will be in the playoffs. A 4 o'clock tip on the Big Ten Network. Then Tuesday, December the 9th, Villanova. Big name. That game is on FS1. That's a 6:30 start. Not bad. I like the 6:30 starts. And then Saturday, December the 13th, at Maryland. An 8 o'clock jump on Fox. Those are the next 3 for Michigan. That's going to do it here tonight on Thanksgiving. I'm going to rest up and get ready for all the action coming up later on today. That is happening in my kitchen. That is happening at the dining room table. That is happening on the TV with some football. So stay warm. Everybody, thanks for staying up with us. Yeah, like the live. You know, we're here after every Michigan basketball game. So if you subscribe, which is free to the YouTube channel, what happens is that you get a notification. I noticed that when I hit the live button and I come on here and say, hey, what's going on? Michigan wins by 40 again. I look over and I see my phone is telling me, hey, the Maize and Blue review is live. So it's free again. Go on and do that. And it's nice to have more subscribers. Bumps our channel up and it helps everything out. And then if you're really into Michigan and you like Michigan football, you like Michigan basketball, and you like hockey, women's, this is all going on in the Maize and Blue review. This is the time to subscribe and get involved. And you can get it once you test it out. This is a good week to test it out. $1 for the first week, and as a bonus, you get complimentary Year of the Athletic. That almost sounds too good to be true. Take advantage. Take advantage like Axel. Axel Canada. He's lived in Ann Arbor his whole life. It's a nice place to be. It's one of the top places to live in the world, especially if you like sports, especially if you like football and basketball and hockey. That's it. And what else does Ann Arbor have? A lot of nice restaurants, parks. You go on and on and on. Thanks so much. The final. One last time, Michigan wins by 40 on Monday. They win by 30 on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, in the championship game of the Player Era Festival, they come back and win by 40 again to take the $1 million. $1 million. I don't know how they divvy it up. They get the sweet basketball that has jewels all over it. That thing's pretty cool. I just give that to Yaks. Take it, Yaks. I picture a bag of, they say, go get your bag. I actually think that they should get a big duffel bag They do that in poker. They put all the, when you're down to the final table, they put all the cash up on the table. It looks cool. Give Michigan, when they get on that flight, or maybe Michigan doesn't take the flight. Maybe they hang out in Vegas. I think Dusty's going to be too smart. So, guys, here's your 100K. Here's your 100K. I don't think they're saying, go ahead and take a couple racks and see what happens out in Vegas. No, let's get on the flight, take that 100K and get back to Ann Arbor for Thanksgiving. We're not staying in Vegas. I don't know. They're going to get that. I think they're already on. They're probably already, as of right now, I think they're probably driving out to the Vegas airport and taking their charter home. And they'll just say, here's your 100. Here's your 100. They get $1 million. Actually, so if you get $1 million, or you split it up, players 15 ways, it's a nice little, that's not too shabby. Chris Webber would say that's pocket change. It's a little Fab Five joke. A little Ed Martin joke. We can do it now. And do it. Get yourself one of these. The leader for college football or college basketball player of the year, the Naismith player of the year, is Yaxel Lendenborg. Happy Thanksgiving. We will be on this very channel coming up on Friday, the eve, which is tomorrow now, of Michigan, Ohio State. Till then, enjoy Thanksgiving.